I'm looking at me. This man sent me the cigarette. Now I want one. Can you get me one? Yeah.
How many people?
And I am the moderator of the Delvista Towers Board of Directors. We have 6 qualified candidates to fill 3 seats. All candidates will have an opportunity to speak. They will have 10 minutes to present their platforms. This will be followed by a question and answer period from the audience. Please allow 5 minutes answering time for each candidate. Let's get started. In alphabetical order, first candidate is Alberto Atuno. Are you here? Are you present?
Can I ask a question before we start? This is Daniel Epstein.
I don't hear Epstein is talking.
I'm asking how many people attend to this chat room?
How many people attended? Okay, there you go. Talk now, you?
Yes, I'm waiting for Albert Atuno to present his platform, and he will have 10 minutes to speak. Can they hear me?
If you can.
Remember, you got to mute when you're not on.
Tell everybody else to mute.
Ask everyone to mute. Yes.
Okay, mute all.
Is Albert Atuno here for the 3rd time? Is he here, Alex?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Alberto Antunano is here.
Ah, perfect. Alberto, how are you? Okay, you'll have 10 minutes to talk about your platform to fill one of the seats.
Okay, so I guess I'm starting. Again, I'm just I got a couple people here suggested that we should have new blood run into the association directorship, so that's what I did. Actually, I was asking for more information about what is the things that we need to look at or that we normally would look at. So I didn't get any of that. So basically, I'm just here to really check that out as well. More than that, there's really nothing else to share.
No, sit here.
Okay.
Is that it, Alberto?
That would be it.
Thank you so much.
Could he share with us his background and what qualifies him and what type of
We're going to save that for the end. Please, you'll have 5 minutes to ask candidates either individually or as a group. So we want to move along to Eli Diamante Bloomquist. Is Eli here? Oh, here. Eli? Hello?
Regina, this is Paul Warren. I wanted to make a suggestion. Perhaps I know you already have a format that's set up. If we're to have after each candidate spoke, to allow the questions versus at the very end where people the residents may actually forget what they want. Our members may not be as sharp as perhaps yours.
No, Paul, we're saving it for the end so that everybody will have an opportunity. And could you, the audience, could you please write down your questions?
Save driving mode. I'm not driving.
Okay, you're new.
Eli, are you here? I just saw him.
I know this.
Mhm.
I think we can.
Actually, here he is.
Oh, yeah, here's.
Here's Eli.
This must screwed up.
I believe he's connected, but it's muted.
I picture he was going in.
Me too.
So some people don't put their pictures in, but.
Somebody said they're having a problem with connection.
Could it be Eli?
Yes, Eli said he's having trouble with connections. So maybe skip him in the meantime and come back. Maybe he'll get it figured out.
Hope so. Eli, we're going on and then we'll come back to you. Carl Perkins is next.
He's coming now.
Okay, here he is. Yes.
No problem. You gotta go to the park. Yeah, you gotta see this.
Oh,
You gotta take this camera. Oh, you wanna do it through there? Oh, okay. That's it.
okay.
Okay, so just put your camera on you.
Hi, this is Claudia Diaz. Can someone tell me what we're waiting for to continue this meeting? Because I kind of.
We're waiting for Mr. Perkins.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Regina, since you're presiding over this is Alberto Millian. What are we waiting for right now? What's the problem?
Mr. Perkins is speaking.
Well, we can't hear him.
Well, we have technical issues. It'll
Okay.
be a few seconds.
All right, everybody, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, somebody give me a thumbs up. Okay. I'm Carl Perkins, for those that know me and for those that don't. I've been a president here for the last year. This is my second year being on the board. I was a director year before last, and last February got elected as president. Since I've been on the board in the last year, I came in halfway through or 3/4 of the way through the capital project. And I've attended all of the capital meetings and the negotiations with capital about those issues that they need to address before we make any more payments to them. They actually started the doors today, and they're saying in 2 to 3 weeks they'll be done. And my platform is basically, it's been a rough year, and as we all know, and I think that on this board we need some type of continuity. Okay, because if we change everybody out, then there's no corporate knowledge on the board. Louise is not running again. Gotti's not going to be on the board. And some of these negotiations that have been going on with Capital, ASI, and various other contractors in the building, we need some continuity to make sure that they execute the contracts as written and not unduly put any more of a burden on us. I mean, hell, it's been 3 years, 4 years since we started this project, which should have been done, 18 months ago. I'm frustrated, just like you are. My door is jacked up. I want to get them done and out of here. So that's my platform. Let's finish the projects that we got going on and then move on and deal with the other things that are going to be coming down the pike. And that's it.
Thank you, Carl.
That mask on.
You didn't understand.
Good evening, everybody hear me?
Yeah, wait, the next person is Mr. Daniel Epstein. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Daniel Epstein. I'm a resident of Delvista Tower. I actually own the units for over 30 years. The first 26, 27 years, I never stepped to the management office. And I was all excited to have the renovation with all the display, with monitors, with boards and everything. Nothing came through. Nothing came through. First, let's start with the contract. If I be on the board, I hired Capital to represent us to sign the contract. They are professional. And our people signed the contract. I don't know who recommended them to sign this contract, how they signed this contract. This board, the first meeting, we asked questions. And we got a response from the manager, look like I educate them more than anybody else. I'll give you an example, the doors. The main contract signed in 2017 with no due diligence, with no clue of none of our board members. First steps, and one of the comments we got from the board meeting, when Danny asked the question, we didn't have records. The situation with the door, I put the board for attention for the last 2 years. Nobody listened, nobody want to listen. I'm not your enemy. I have experience of 40 years construction. Nobody listened. About 2 months after they signed the contract, there was a change order for over $300,000 of the doors. Your guys want to tell me Capital didn't know the shape of our doors. No permit been got in. That's a breach of contract. If your guys look all the change order, what our board people signed, I don't know. The number is not correct. Some of the change order, we own a capital, it's in their main contract, and I got documents for everything. That's a shame. We have a floor in the lobby. It's all cracked, all managed, all. And I came before they put the first tile on the floor, and I told them that's not the right thing. Nobody want to listen, and everybody blame each other. I remember Gadi Leshem speaking, and this board member, and give us detail how it's managed. This is mismanaged. Let me tell you guys, this board spent just to check the doors, $50,000. I don't know how much is legal fee, just to check the door. And they changed the door on the base of a report of Intertech. What I asked in the first board meeting, nobody knew about it. Report, and to check the work has been done, and I just got the report today. I wait for it almost a month. I'm going to post it and people see what's going on over there. $50,000, $7,500 spent about 3 months ago to polish the floor. Look how the floor look like. I want to thank all the board members. Didn't work. Give a chance to new people. And nobody in this building beside me, whoever wrote the contract, know the contract better than me. And I can show you text messages, emails between board members. Managers. This thing start in 2017. We're going to our fourth manager.
Danny, it's Regina. You have 3 minutes, dear.
It's not, I think she said 10 minutes.
So how much I got left? 3 more minutes?
Yes, sir. You started at 7:13.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
I live in this building and I care about this building. The president just mentioned another company start to work. Who know this company? What they doing? Now they have a new trick. It's emergency. We're repairing window 40 years old. For what? Let's bring somebody check this window if it's repairable. They are 40 years old. Running a project with no permit, they have no knowledge about contract. They have no knowledge about construction. Didn't work out. Give a chance to new people. I'm willing to give my time and my knowledge. And one thing I promise you, I'm not going to accept, if I be elected as a board member, no board meeting, and Friday night, Saturday, or 10 o'clock, Sunday morning. Every paper, what we're going to sign, I'm going to know, everything going to be open by legal. When they recommend.
Danny, we have 1 more minute.
Thank you very much.
And then you'll have your question and answer period.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anyway, I want to appreciate all the board members. And I ask them to give a chance to new people, new blood to get in. Especially, I want to say thank you to you, Regina, for your honesty. When we have a board meeting, you didn't know what we're talking. You say, I don't know. Louise, for sharing with me everything, support me, invite me to be a candidate for the open seat. And Gadi Leshin. I'm offering you guys to look for everything, not to waste money. If this board was listening to me, it's $80,000.
Okay, Danny,
Right now.
Danny, I'm sorry, it's Regina.
Thank you very much.
Can you wrap it up, dear?
Thank you very much.
You're
All
welcome.
I'm asking everybody attending to this, vote for me. It's like you vote for you and get new people on the board. Give a chance. They got their chance. Let new people to get in.
Okay, thank you very much, Danny. Next candidate is Marvin Lebovitz.
So he has to sit there,
Good evening, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Marvin Lebovitz, and I have been a resident in Delvista for over 34, 35 years, and I've been an owner for approximately 31, 32 years. I've served on the boards for approximately, I think, 12 years, and was president of both the Towers Board and the Road Board for about 9 to 10 years. I've overseen many of the projects and implemented many of the programs that we've had here over the last 10 to 12 years. And to give you an example.
Can you speak louder? It's very hard to hear you, please.
Okay, can you hear me now better, Danny?
Yes.
Okay, over the 10 to 11 years that I've served on the board and been president of both boards, I've done an extensive amount of work and implemented many different type of projects. I've handled the contract negotiations with ASI, with our cable company, with bringing in our new waste management company over the years. Many of those contracts are still in effect. As far as landscaping, when the developer delivered this building to us, we had very minimal landscaping. Everything was extremely bare, just the basics. During the 10 years that I presided as president of Road Board, everything that you see in the front now, trees, hedges, and so forth, never existed. Lighting never existed other than the main light pole at the front. I brought a couple photos here to show you, which I'm going to place, which took place right after Hurricane Wilma. And although you're going to see an extensive amount of damage, the damage is basically shows the minimal amount of landscape that we had. The only thing we ever had that the developer placed here were the olive trees and the light pole. Once this was all cleared over a 10-year period, which took quite a bit of time, I placed, handpicked every single palm tree that you see there today, all the ambient lighting, all our hedges. It took approximately 10 years to do this because of the cost factor. Can't do this all at once. I've done the same with all the islands and all the beds that we have throughout the grounds and the pool deck. I've worked with Eddie Suarez, who's our mechanical engineer. Eddie was born in this building. He came on board with the developer, and he's been here for close to 40 years. He's the greatest asset that this building has. He's more important than an entire board and 10 managers combined. And it's been a pleasure working with him. Prior to leaving the board, within 2 years of leaving the board, Eddie and I started an extensive preventive maintenance for our roofing, for our roof work, for our boilers, our ACs, in order to extend their life for about another 3 to 5 years, as those are our next big projects coming up, along with other compliances that we're going to need for our 40-year certification. The package delivery system with the monitors that you have in both mailrooms, I developed that. The entire design project that you have here for your renovation, I started the research and the negotiations and the outline of this project 2 to 3 years prior to its taking shape. After leaving the board, the current boards, unfortunately, have lost total control of this project. We have many deficiencies aesthetically that need to be corrected. During the time I was on the board and still able to work this project, I was walking these floors every night, sometimes midnight to 3 o'clock in the morning, going over all the day's work and tagging and marking off everything that I found that needed to be corrected, and would then meet with our owner's rep either the following morning immediately so that they could put a halt to Capital's work and begin the corrections. Many times, simplicity of corrections took 3 to 4 times to be done over. My background is I'm a general contractor, and I work throughout the entire state in residential homes and in high-rise luxury buildings. My clients expect from me level 5 and level 6 work. I'm a stickler for detail, and I'm very upset with how the quality of this project has turned out. And I'm very upset with the leadership of the board and the lack of knowledge that has followed this board in dealing with capital in order to expeditiously correct the deficiencies, especially the aesthetic deficiencies. Moving forward through this project, as I said, we have other projects coming up. We have approximately 1 to 3 years life expectancy left on the roofs, 1 to 2 years life expectancy left on our central air conditioning. And going forward, this board and this association, in order to protect our investment, needs qualified individuals that can handle this project. That's why I'm coming back and planning on returning to this board. There are other people here that reside at Delvista that are in construction and have worked very large projects. And I urge them to run for the board because their services are needed. However, because of all the turmoil that takes place in this building, they don't want to be on the board. They don't want to deal with all the aggravation. It is very aggravating. I'm not looking forward to doing it again, but I want to protect my investment here, and I want to see everything done thoroughly without getting taken advantage of by contractors and ripped off by other outside vendors that have occurred over the last 2 years under not this manager that was just released, but the previous manager. And I want to be able to retain our key elements and staff members here whose morale is very, very low right now. I'll basically finish up right now and be open to questions after everybody's finished. Thank you.
Okay, next, Mr. Paul Warren. Paul,
Thank you so much, Regina.
you're welcome, you're welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, fellow residents of Delvista. My name is Paul Warren. Before we get started, I'd really like to use the opportunity to thank all the residents who are actually here, who have actually served on the board, who have actually volunteered their time in their capacity, both on the towers board and also for the road maintenance board. Because putting basically you've put yourself out there, and really want to thank you and acknowledge you for that. And also, I would also like to use the opportunity to actually express some thanks to the staff, to those who actually support the staff members who actually worked and supported us during this moment of the pandemic. Some of you have been, we have been impacted one way or the other. So I really couldn't actually start today's session without giving some thanks to the entire community for how we have actually stick together to make things possible, to regardless of the different adversities that we have had today. So thank you so much. Now, the next thing I'll actually do is I will give a briefing of my experiences. You should have received a copy of my resume within your packet. And within your packet, that will be the resume that's titled Paul Alexander Warren. And just to give you a brief background of my experience, I am Jamaican by origin, if you heard my accent in the background. I do speak Spanish. I went to university in Venezuela. And in terms of my working experiences, most of my experience comes from the financial background. Prior to working in the financial background, I worked actually as a school teacher in Jamaica. And then prior to that, and actually, well, teaching what? Yeah, in Jamaica, I was a teacher of science and Spanish. And after that, my experience here in the United States has been as a call center supervisor, on-site management for personal issues at different staffing firms. And then my career advanced as a banking executive, starting with First Union, which became Wachovia, and then Wachovia Wells Fargo. I was a regional executive for Wells Fargo, and finally with JP Morgan Chase. After the merger with Wachovia, I am one of the executives who basically took my package, because Wachovia and Wells Fargo were both two large banks. And as one of the regional executives overseeing the financial market here in Aventura, Golden Beach, North Miami Beach, North Miami, there were two regional executives, and then someone actually had a choice to go. At one point, I was assigned in Pennsylvania and then back to Miami. So I took my early retirement and used the last few years taking care of my mother, who passed away in July of this year. May God rest her soul. And for those who have had losses during this year, I also want to express some condolences to you, as this has been a very difficult and trying year. What is it that I have? What is it that I'm offering to Delvista? Currently, I'm one of your chairpersons and director. I preside over the Delvista Road Maintenance Board, and my aspiration, and I humbly ask you for your vote and your support for me to be a member, for the privilege to serve you as a director of the Towers Board of Directors. The agenda that I'm offering, if you give me the privilege to serve on that board, well, I have to acknowledge that there are some great things that have been done. My goals are not to destroy what's there. My goals are to build on what is already there, to make things better. But in the process of making things better, to have full transparency, an open book. Everything, you are the owner, you are the owners, and you should be entitled to all the information to make the decision. You trust us to be on the board, and this is our, and I humbly ask you for your vote of confidence to vote for change. We may never become friends to have tea or coffee or hang out for beers, but I will tell you one thing, it's that as your member on the board, I'll be one of your strongest advocate. I will never allow anything untoward to happen to you or your affairs. So I humbly ask you to consider the new candidates who are here today, whether it's myself or Daniel Epstein or Eli. Give opportunities to the new residents who are aspiring to be directors on this board, so that we can actually offer our ideas to work together as a team to aspire to make things better here at Delvista Towers. Again, having said that, while I do acknowledge and I'm thankful that Marvin Levovich was actually a previous president, and we thank him for his services, and so was Paul Berkins. However, part of the transparency that we need to actually have here at Delvista is that we have had over the last few years a few projects that we need transparency in. I won't go in details as to how many different issues that we need to have transparency and an open book in. And again, there may be nothing untoward, but the mere act of us not providing the information to you creates the impression that something may be wrong. So that is the agenda, to keep it plain and simple. How will I do this? One of the first things that I would like to do, if you offer me the privilege to be a director on the board, and if I have the privilege to serve my fellow directors as president, or even as a director that has the support of the current directors, is to have the current board of directors adopt a code of conduct for transparency, honesty to the residents, and a code of conduct that deals specifically with conflict of interest with ourselves or with our partners or the persons to whom we have any affiliation. And the second part of my agenda, the management of this association, this is our home. And that management process will be through the use of committees. Every committees under the statutes of Florida Statute 718, or the different administrative codes, will be activated. There will be a committee, a finance and account committee, an auditing committee. There will be.
Excuse me, Paul.
Yes.
Paul, you have 1 more minute here.
Thank you very much, Regina.
You're welcome.
There will be a committee for grievances, for conflict of interests. This way so that we can benefit from the rich diversity that we have here at Delvista and from the many different ideas that we can contribute together to make this a better home. So with that, thank you very much. And I humbly ask you, please give me the privilege. Consider Daniel Epstein. Consider, please, Eli, the new members. Give us an opportunity to humbly serve you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Okay, now we have to allow Eli. We're still looking for Eli. He's here. Eli? No. Where is he? Alan?
You hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you. Good evening, Eli.
Can I start?
Yes, you can start. 7:43.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you for the 51 owners that are in the meeting. Let's start like that. Who here is missing communication? Yeah. Who here think there is no transparency? Mia. Who here is insecure about with the board decision? Mia. Okay, we are clear. Let's move forward. Let me present myself. I'm a 46 years guy. I'm originally from Brazil, so I have a really strong accent. If you, sorry about my English, but I'm trying my best. I bought my apartment in Delvista in 2010, and Regina interviewed me. I have 2 daughters. My degree is in computers. I work today, I have a company in the real estate business. Just to very quick, we buy house, we flip, we sell the house for investors. So the investors trust me. I'm the owner of the company. Trust me to have his asset on my hand, and I manage this with transparency and communication. My other business, I have a fashion business for almost 28 years, 19 stores, 240 employees. I'm not the one who knows everything about fashion business. Most of the thing in the business, maybe I don't know. But to be very honest with you, they believe me like an owner and like a leader. Why? Because everything is transparency, everything is communication. I believe on that. To be very honest with you, I heard all the candidates, especially Daniel, and Paul, they have a lot of knowledge about the building, a lot. Also Marvin. But who was in the board in the last years? Sorry, it's no transparency and it's not communication. I don't know what they're doing with my money. They know, I don't know, I should know. I'm the client, I'm vote for people there that was there that say in the last election, they will be transparency, communication. I'm gonna tell you a secret, nothing happens. Nothing. What are you gonna do? About capital, it's very important. And have people then that know more than me about it. Much more. But no one will be more transparency. Like also Paul said, transparency, communication. That's what we need. If we have communication, it's open box. Let's open the black box. Why people afraid about it? Why the board that is there now don't open the box? What the people that was elected in the last time didn't open the box? Why? Why they afraid? And why they don't show us what's going on? What we have to think about it, this, that, open the box. So my main goal in the board is the transparency. Let's open everything, open. Why? And one more time, 2 years ago, I worked very hard to be on the board, very hard. Also with Carl. And Carl spoke after me in the meet of candidates. And he said to everyone that new members should be on the board. So why he changed the idea? Why he don't let someone else go to the board? He have a chance. He was on the board. Like everyone here. Let's be in the board. Let's open the box. I'm gonna open the box. I'm not, sorry, but I'm not talking, if I, wait a minute, Regina, if I talk personal, it's not it's not what I want, okay? If I said that, Carl, sorry, I'm not talking personal, never personal. So I want to be on the board as everyone that was there. One day he wanna be there, I wanna be there. And I'm counting on you to have transparency and communication. And who knows me in the building? Don't ask the owners. Ask the workers who I am, how I talk with them, how to be respectful, how to be transparency. That's the point. To be a leader, I don't know if to be a leader, you need to be respect and transparency and communication. I'm not gonna promise because by my religion, I cannot promise anything, but I'm gonna open all the box. And you can be sure about it. And I want to have all new members on the board to change the mentality. To work with capital, we have a lot of people to do that, a lot. And a lot of people who knows how to deal with capital. I don't know, to be very honest with you, I don't know, but I can help. I really ask you for your vote and thank you so much.
Thank you, Eli. Thank you very much. My regards to Tammy. Okay, so we finished that portion. And now the audience, you have your questions and the candidates will answer. Who is going to be first? No questions?
Well, I can go first.
Okay.
Hi, it's Joanne.
Hi, Joanna. How are you, dear?
I'm good. Well, I was listening to all of the candidates, and one of the ones that spoke that was very striking and very brief was Alberto Antunano. And he barely just stated his name. I would like for him to share with us his experience, why he's running for the board, what type of contribution he intends to provide, and just, be as detailed as possible, because I don't feel like I got anything from him.
Okay, Alberto, are you still here?
I'm still here.
No. Okay.
How you guys doing? Yeah, actually, this was very good. Thanks very much for the question. Actually, that gives me a chance to expand a little bit. Like I said at the beginning, to tell you the truth, this is what's been happening. And Eli, Paul, guys, I'm so glad that I've been here since 2000. I bought this place in 2000. We've gone through so many changes and so many people, but it's not been many times that I had the pleasure of actually meeting many of my people that live here, neighbors, and very seldomly have I seen people that actually want to make a change, that see things that need to be improved, and actually some things that need to be progressed. What happened was very recently, and again, I don't like mentioning names, but some people were talking to me about the whole situation with capital and all the issues that we see every day, right? And I said, hey, how can I help? Because I live here, I plan to own this place at least for a long time. So what can we do? Hey, right now we need somebody to apply for the board. I said, look, I wish I had the time. I work very hard. I wish I had the time. But you know what? It kind of brought up something in me. I said, look, let's try it. I want to help. So I'm going to apply to run for the board without really knowing anything, which is what I stated when I started, which I was actually waiting for some type of information. I think some people even got ballots. I didn't get anything. Maybe it's a problem with my email. But I didn't have actually no information. But you know what? When this meeting started, I said, look, I put my name down there, even though I know nothing of this, I'm going to jump in there because I want to help. And at very least, I want to support what I think everybody here, all the candidates that I've heard at least, are supporting, is that we need new people in this board. We need new people that represent all of us and not just a very specific few. And again, we've seen what's been happening. Nobody here likes it. This place should be, it's our castle. We need to protect it. And now that I've heard everybody else, to the person that asked, I just want to say that I want to support them. If I can run and if I'm able to run, I will definitely do that and be part of this process. But I'll definitely, at very least, support, Paul, Eli, the people that have presented themselves. I think we need a change. That's why.
Okay, thank you very much, Alberto. Anybody else?
Yes, I have a question. This is Nadia. It's actually
Nadia.
Hi. It's
Hi,
actually
how are you?
for the new candidates. I'm well. Hopefully you as well. So over the last 7 years, the current renovation project has been a disaster. Marvin and Carl were both on the board. Marvin chose capital. Carl stood by and watched the disaster ensue as president. And as basically my question is, as new candidates, what are your plans to not only correct the deficiencies, but what are your plans to ensure that all the contracts that we have right now have been signed and have they been complied with over all of this time? Because again, we know nothing.
Okay, who wants to answer that first? Hello?
I have to defer to maybe Paul.
Sorry, you can go ahead, Alberto, because I really.
No, please. Actually, I wanted to say that I want to defer to somebody that actually obviously is more involved in this. So please, Paul, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Alberto. And before I forget, Alberto, thank you so much for volunteering. And whether or not I get elected or you, whoever is the person that is successful, I strongly suggest that they reach out to you, because I believe this is one of the ways in which we can keep residents who are willing to engage to help the community. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, to answer that question specifically, one of the first things that needs to be done is that all the contracts, they need to be reviewed. The contracts, the website that we have some, according to Florida Statute 718, all the records need to be actually loaded on the record so that residents can actually see that information. And a part of that process in terms of that transparency is that my agenda would be to implement that by first starting a process of reviewing every contract that the association have, reviewing specifically that contract that we have with Capital, which is specifically a contract with which we have had some issues going on. Once that contract has been reviewed, The next thing that needs to be done is that we need to have an audit. When I say an audit to reconciliate the contract that we have versus the goods and services that was delivered to Delvista. When I say goods and service, specifically, for example, we have had issues with a few things that were installed, whether it was the floor or the roof or the carpeting, that versus what we pay per square feet, there's some major discrepancies. There's discrepancies with the furnishings that we have in the lobby, whether the price with the change order, it says an amount that is way higher than what we can find an item of similar. So those will be some of the steps. Now, of course, there are some great things that the renovation has brought. And there are some great things that that our forerunners have actually established. So the process will be to build on that, but the building process involves a process of having all contracts to be reviewed and a reconciliation of the goods and services. And with that, that's something that I will need your assistance with. I am willing to dedicate my resources to it, my attention to it, and whether we need to use and of course to reach out to the different specialists, whether within the community or out of the community that can actually help to do that. Some of you, for example, may have financial backgrounds, or you may have experiences in contracting. We'll need all the expertise. And here in Delvista, we have many residents who have great skills that can offer. And the committees that I suggested before, as I said, it's a two-tier thing. One, code of conduct. The second thing would be to have the committees. The committees will be the method through which all of this will be activated. So I will be reaching out to everyone here. Today we have about 50 persons on this call. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Paul. Thank you very much.
Can I just compliment?
Do I hear something?
One more thing to Nadia's question.
Yes, please do. I want all of you to answer. I don't want it to just go to one person.
Nadia, nice to meet you. I think Paul and Alberto answer 99% correct, and they have the knowledge of that. But also, as soon as we know, like a board, we're gonna share this information. That's the most important thing, because the knowledge of contract, one more time, I don't have, but like Paul says, and like everyone said, a lot of you guys have this knowledge and can help the board. But this information, you should also know what's going on. That's it.
Thank you, Eli. Anybody else?
Hi, Regina, it's Matilda. I have a question.
Wait, excuse me. I want to answer the question. Since the other two candidates answer, I want to answer the question.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Capital, about capital. I just got today the report and I'm reviewing it. I don't know what the agreement the board have with capital. I'm going to check. Let me give you guys example. We're going to a major renovation soon. It's including roof, cooling tower, and 40-year inspections. We have to do a lot of thought and do our due diligence, not like we did with this renovation. I'll give you an example. First change order, the board answer, no record who give the authorization to sign. Second, I'll give you another example. when they start the renovation, they knew they need to change the fire alarm system. Everybody know under the molding in the hallways, the cable for the cable TV running out. Capital went, they say they installed, no detail, we spend between 20 to 30,000 to install and reinstall. This was mismanagement. Remember, guys, the Delvista Association, it's a not general contractor, it's not a management company to manage a construction company. We don't have a knowledge for it, and we don't have the time for it. They hire a third party manager, project manager, whatever you can call him. We spend close to $30,000. One of his duty to make sure all this job is done with permits. This is a joke. I want to see one of your tenants trying to do a job in your unit with no permit. You're going to get a red tag automatically. I like to have the opportunity, since we don't have a manager, because this board didn't know how to manage with managers. It's fourth manager coming for this project. Fourth manager coming for this project.
Danny, you have 1 more minute.
Why is she limiting your time?
Give me that opportunity, and I show you how it should be worked. Basic stuff, before it's done, everything be permanent. This board or the other board, whatever, hired engineer from Japan. For what? That's not our obligation. For what? There was capital obligation. We have enough 4 people on the board staying, so they don't know how to negotiate. I hope it's not one main show. Give a chance to new people. I got everything. I got everything what they gave me.
Danny,
Thank you.
your time is up, dear. Thank you. Moving on.
Regina.
Yes.
Hi, Regina. Hi, everyone. It's Matilda here. Hi.
Hello.
Are you in Bulgaria?
Yes, I'm still in Bulgaria. That's
Okay,
it.
good to see you, Danny.
Likewise, and it's 3 a.m., but I'm very excited about the meeting. Thank you, Regina. You're leading very well.
Okay.
I would like to ask the 3 new blood candidates, Paul, Eli, and Daniel. First of all, thank you for your activity I've seen in the last year. Not many pleasant things, but it's better the truth than nothing. So going forward, as all of you are saying transparency, and that's what we need. As a resident, I feel that a good idea will be some sort of monthly meetings with the actual short summary, what has been done through the month, what decision has been made, and what is coming for the next month agenda for all residents to be actually following up briefly what's happening instead of trying to find out information on some posted emails or notices around the buildings or emails or on the application. And also when we have a major contract to be reconsidered, like the cable contracts or coming major renovations or other jobs, in a sense of best management practices, and to avoid any conflict of interest and any concerns from the residents that they may be misconduct here. It is only common sense, as we know from our day-to-day work, businesses, what we do. It's the least 3 offers to be considered. Are you committed to present at least 3 offers and explain to the residents why these 3 offers are considered and why you make the choice of the specific one? It might not be always be the cheaper one, but maybe better condition and so on. So the residents actually understand your decisions making, especially when it comes to expensive and high cost contracts. Daniel, Paul, and Eli.
Okay, I'll go ahead in the interest of time. Regina, may I?
Yeah, of course, Paul. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you so much.
5 minutes.
Matilda, thank you so much for joining us from Bulgaria at 3 a.m. in the morning. This is awesome. We're delighted to have you. And I also want to give a shout out while we have Matilda on this conference that Matilda was very instrumental in getting the association members more involved in the community. This is something that started from back in 2019. And Matilda, for those of you who don't know, was instrumental in actually seeding the creation of that movement. So thank you very much, Matilda.
You're welcome, Paul.
Now, specifically to answer your questions, in terms of monthly updates, I have a property next door in Coronado, and I'll tell you, I am impressed that every month there is an email that comes from the property manager that reports. Actually, they send it on weekly. Sometimes it becomes so much I just delete it. But
monthly would be sufficient.
And a report comes from the property manager that tells you what they're doing, what's the updates, what's pending. And that's the way it should be, because you are the owner. And so a report should be forthcoming. And in addition to that, Matilda, that part of my commitment would be is that website that, according to Florida Statute 718, we have promised, we have hired the staff, we have made the allocations, and yet we are still not complying. That website would become compliant. So that
here I have to interrupt you. I'm sorry, Paul. Actually, the application works fine because I'm remote. I'm using it a lot, and Alex actually has been very helpful. Yes. So I'm using my opportunity actually to do the voting online. With that. We just need a better organization over there in light of the documents, posting, and information. And there is still some tabs that are not available, but it's so far start working in a much better way, but we need a lot.
Thank you so much, Matilda, for that feedback. And that's to be rather unreasonable. As I said, is that our goal will be looking onto building on what's already there to make it better. If we're at 3-star, let's get to 5-star. Finally, to address the other question, that part of the question that you had in terms of contracting. According to Florida Statute 718, any bidding contract that is at least 5% of the association's annual budget, it needs to be contract. There needs to be a bids on contract process. Personally, I am of the opinion that it's a best practice, regardless of the fact if it's less than 5%, so that we can provide transparency. So the way that will be done for compliance, according to Florida Statute 718, and also for full transparency, there will be a bids on contract committee. A bids on contract committee that has nothing, that they do their bids on contract process, and then it's passed on to the board. The board has an open door meeting, and we open the envelopes, we have the discussions, and then we pass it on to the manager. I hope this answered all of your questions, Amity.
Yes, Paul. Yes,
thank you so much.
Matilda, Paul, thank you so much.
Wait, she asked me a question too.
Well, I know you'll have your chance, Danny. 1 second. You'll have your full 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Berkins? Because
no.
He has to leave.
No.
Yes?
Berkins, let the candidates answer the question from Matilda.
They will, Al, but something came up and he has to leave. So does anybody have any questions for Mr. Berkins?
He had to leave?
Yeah, I have a question.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Berkins?
Ask him about the
Yeah, I actually have a question for Carl.
Okay,
He's-
Joanne? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, he's actually on the current board, and someone just brought up the fact that we currently don't have a manager. And I'm asking this question to everyone, and if Carl has to leave, he can answer and then leave, and then the rest of the candidates can answer. My question is, will he commit to not hire a new manager until the new board is elected? And for the other candidates, how do they feel about that?
You know what, I'll be more than happy to answer your question. Being that we had a closed board meeting today to discuss getting an interim manager, and the next board will be the ones who decides who's going to be the permanent full-time manager. And the reason that we went out and sought a interim manager is there are hundreds of items that need to be discussed or dealt with during the week, all right? And as board members, we don't have the time to sit down and be in each of the individual meetings, and also don't have the expertise that a LCAM manager brings in. Vanessa does a great job. Eddie's great. Alex is great. However, they get overwhelmed because of lack of experience and lack of knowledge of what needs to happen. And you need to realize this is a business. Since we're a self-managed association, it's a business. There's things that have to happen every day. There's payrolls that have to be met. There are meetings that have to be attended. And as a board, we felt that the next board should pick the next property manager.
Mr. Perkins.
And let me finish. Can I finish, please? The next board will pick the next property manager. However, we had a candidate that agreed to be an interim, not be offered a contract, anything, interim at-will employee to stopgap until the next board picks the next manager.
What are the terms of that interim manager?
The terms are we working his salary and insurance.
Like for how long? For like a month or two, or?
Yes, until the next board picks. He agreed to accept a position, okay, with the understanding that we are not offering him the position as a full-time permanent position, but he is qualified, he is licensed, and he will be stopgap. I don't know if it's a month, 2 months, whatever it takes for them to get the next qualified candidate.
Mr. Perkins, I just want to remind you that the compensation for the property manager as our employee, it's a part of the rights of the owners under Florida Statute 718. So if anyone actually asks that information, you need to disclose that information and denial. And then if you refuse to provide that information, it's a denial of the records. One, and then second, Mr. President, President, I find it to be very disrespectful of you that you planned a meeting tonight, and this is a pattern that you've had from the previous board meetings. You fail to attend the board meetings for road maintenance. Most of the meetings you're not there, you leave early. Today, you rarely have meetings for the towers. You have mostly meeting closed door board meetings.
Excuse me.
This is a meeting and you're planning to leave. This is unacceptable. Goodbye.
Is there a question somewhere in there?
Yeah, who is this candidate? This is Al Million. Who is the candidate that you are picking right now? We are entitled to know.
It's Udi Manor. Udi Manor.
Rudy.
That this is, you're talking about our neighbor, Udi, who lives in our building, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Udi is experienced, I know him. So he will have time, apart from his normal job, to do additional or?
He is in between jobs right now, so he will be able to come in
Okay.
full-time as a manager until the next board picks the permanent manager.
Okay, okay, thank you, Carl.
So
This-
there is
he will be good.
there is no restriction to somebody that owns an apartment here to be an employee of the building?
Carl is gone and his time was up. Joanne, can you hold that question? The next candidate?
Regina,
Because
I want to.
I have to go back to Mr.
Regina, you cut off Dan's response. He needs to respond to that question and to the question that just was presented.
Al, I'm going back to Danny now. He still has
Thank
his
you.
5 minutes.
Thank you,
And then
Regina.
Joanne, you'll ask that question to the others as well. Okay, dear?
From my room. Yes, thank you.
Okay. But Danny,
Matilda.
let's go back to Matilda's question.
I'm trying to listen to this, please.
Matilda.
Go when you're now, right now. What?
Was not Udi at some point also on the board at some point in the past? And then he resigned?
Mr. Bergen.
My memory is failing me? Because I see a potential conflict of interest.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and at some point, I think he was board member and then he resigned or he, something happened. I don't remember exactly.
I don't know, but Mr. Epstein has to answer the question that Matilda had presented. So let's keep
Matilda, for your,
to the schedule.
Matilda, for your question, first, I promise you and everybody, in any agenda in the board meeting coming to vote, I'm not going to vote till I don't understand and fully understand what I'm voting for. Transparency. I give you all the information. Anything you need, you see it on the chat, whatever I can expose it. Anything legal, what I can tell you guys, I tell you. I want to take advantage, since we're going to hire a new manager, to learn with him what's going on the daily basis business, give my comments, get his comments. But in the construction, in the new construction, what's coming up, that is my main interest. And I got 40-year experience. And whatever they find out now, 3 years later, I try to tell them for 2 years. But they decide to pay $50,000 and another engineer, what I told them about 2 years ago. And I give you an example. I want to study everything before I vote, and everything be illegal. We bid the job legally. We ask what we need, and all going to be, and it's still bid what it's come. One thing I learned from Mark Baum, if I be on the board, it be illegal attending to all the board meetings, so we get the answer right away. So they're not going to tell you anything your people going to ask. I'm going to answer. I put my own phone number, my email on the resume, and I talk to people, and this, and I get what I supposed to get.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you.
Hey, all right.
Hi, can I ask a question?
Who is speaking?
My name should be on video. My name is Daniel Mateo.
Oh, hi, Daniel. Matilda, did that answer your questions?
Yes, I believe yes, and Eli already,
Matilda,
I think it's
Can
the
I
same.
just, can I just?
Yeah.
Daniel is up. Daniel, go right ahead.
Eli.
Is it
Can I
okay?
just, Daniel, can you give me 1 minute just to answer Matilda?
Of course.
Yes.
Matilda, your question is very, very good. And Paul and Daniel also answer 99%. I just wanna compliment that everything is not about everyone gonna call Danny's phone or Paul phones or whatever, Marvin's phone, who is in the board. We're gonna have a professional communication. Everyone knows, it's one shot, everyone knows. Don't have to call personally. This is like everyone said, this is a company. We have shares. You are a share, everyone have a share, and everyone should know what's going on before voting, after voting, why voting. That's the point. Maybe Daniel, Paul, the other candidates, for sure, they know better than me about capital. Danny have 40 years on construction. Paul have, oh my gosh, so many years in financial business. Also, Marvin has his experience, whatever. But what we want is transparency and professional with the owners that have the share of our company.
Yeah, that is the whole point, Eli. We missed greatly the transparency and answers. We don't want, certainly I'm not going to call anybody at home, but a regular monthly meeting with a brief summary explanations and answering question. I will certainly not ask the details how you get to the decision, but a presentation between, just an example, 3 offers, you pick up the middle or even the most expensive one, but you have the reason because it was a more quality, more services and etc. And when you get to the deeper details, it's actually on a long run much financially beneficial for the community. A brief explanation why will go a long way to explain to the residents in a professional way, as you say, what's happening and how you represent us in the best way.
So just to complement, this will be my part on the board.
Yeah, thank you, Eli.
Thank you.
If they allowed me, I'm gonna be responsible for that because I cannot, to be very transparent, I cannot be responsible for the knowledge that Danny have, the knowledge that Paul have, the knowledge that other candidates have. I don't have. Don't expect this from me. Expect from me what really we talk about, transparency, why, when, before, after.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Eli.
Okay, thank you. You just made it under the wire. Okay, let's continue. Joanne, do you want to go back to your question?
Regina, this is Dan. May I go ahead with my
Dan,
question?
I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead, dear.
Of course. First of all, I want to thank all the candidates. I mean, I've served on boards, and anybody who runs for a board deserves an applause, even if you don't agree. It's volunteer time, so I appreciate everybody's presentation. I don't know really any of you, and so I'll have to make my decision based on the presentations today. This is only my second board meeting attending, and I guess the one thing that has struck me, and quite as a new owner is a little concerning, is the sense of animosity, the sense of factions, the sense of us against them and new against old. I think we all have common interests. I know we probably don't all agree, but my question to all of the members, sitting new members, is what are we going to do, or what is your plan, not only to implement the changes, but to create a more civil interaction between management, between the board, between the office, and between the residents, to give people like me who are new a sense of confidence that we're acting professionally and not devolving into personal attacks and us against them. That's my concern, and that's my question for any candidate who's willing to answer.
Okay. Who would like to take that question?
Yes, I like to answer my friend.
Okay, sorry, Daniel.
Okay. I wish you had experience like we have with all the board meeting what we have. There's no style, no nothing. They told us the manager, they got to agreement with the manager, mutual agreement, the manager say no. I read the resignation letter for the prior manager, completely different what they say. The one before, I don't know. I am not. Every time when I used to go to the office, they used to tell me they are the only one allowed to speak to the manager per the contract. The last board meeting, I asked if the manager have a contract. They say no. I don't know. When I be inside, I inform you everything. I don't know. I don't like when I go to the office, the security guard going to screen me. This is a joke. What you going to ask the manager? What you going to ask over there? What's going on? And I'm thank you to all of them. I just gave a chance to new people. Let's look forward for a new style, new days, and protect our investment and lift it up. And I promise you, you vote for me, you vote for yourself. I watch everything. Give you example. Wallpaper in the residential floor. This is the major thing in the contract. No record who signed it. But they put a cheaper wallpaper. Where is the credit? And everything I say, I have documents for it. Everything. But they don't want to hear. I'll give you another example. Today we got the email. 7 o'clock Friday night meeting. 7 p.m. I'm Jewish. We have Jewish people observe Shabbat. What's going on over here? What's so rush? What the manager did so wrong? Right away, fired him. I don't know. I hear from them and I hear from him. I'm open.
Thank you.
Okay, Danny, anybody else?
Regina, I would like to add a comment. This is Liz.
Thank you for that. Yes, Liz.
Hi, my dear.
How you doing?
Listen, I really want to vocalize exactly what Mario was just saying. As a resident, I've lived here for quite a long time, both as a unit owner. I'm not even on video, sorry. As a unit owner and as a previous resident, I have family here. We own 4 units altogether. And what he just mentioned is something that I have felt all this time. The reason why I'm actually running for the DRM, although I'm doing it really because I really don't want to do it. But I feel this resentment, hatred, animosity toward people, toward the management office, toward the staff that are cleaning. How is this going to protect our investment? I say this to everybody. Forget the people who are running. Everybody, consider yourself a unit owner, but also you're a community owner. We live in a community. So there are Jews, there are Muslims, there are Christians, there are Buddhists, there are atheists perhaps. But can we at least have a sense of decency of how to talk to one another, how to not step over each other so that we can, for God's sake, keep our investments alive, flourishing, and thriving. So what I ask
What's the question? Yes.
My question is, it's really, can we get that from everyone that's running? Can we really get this? Please, I beg you.
Can I answer?
Go ahead,
is-
please.
Who is it? Eli. Okay, Eli, take it away. And then I'd like the audience to ask other people, the other candidates, some questions. Go ahead, Eli, I'm sorry.
Liz, what I heard from you is something the same as Daniel asked. So I can give you that. And I'm gonna tell you how. The only way we can get that, forget about capital agora, now. Don't talk about capital. Capital, Daniel, Paul, Marvin, they're gonna hold it. I'm not. I'm gonna take care about respect. With communication, with transparency, you get respect. And to be very honest with you, all you guys, all you. So because I need to be very clear, if I'm gonna be on the board, I will run for president. Why? Because we have to open committees. We have a lot of people that have a lot of knowledge, 10 times better than me. But I know how to manage people and how to give respect and how to give transparency. We have, one more time, we have a lot of people here that have a lot of knowledge. They can hold with a lot of transparency and like trustable people, they can hold this capital, and I'll be there also, but I don't have the knowledge. But like a community, like to be Jewish, Catholic, Muslim, all together, my feeling that we lost the respect. It's like in South America, we have the right, we have the left. And when have election, they fight to get against. They don't build nothing. They don't build nothing. They just want to say bad things about the left and about the right. We need to do this together, only together. And we have to put all this, I don't have the correct word in English, but all this ódio, ¿cómo se habla esto? Ódio, rancor, todas las cosas más, all the bad feelings, throw away. We are getting the new board. We have a chance to do from what they do correct. We can build on top. If it's not good, let's trash it and build again, but only with respect. Only with respect. I don't know if I answer your question.
Thank you.
Thank
Respect.
you.
Thank you.
Liz, Mr. Lebovitz has requested, he wants to answer your question
Thank you.
as
I
well.
appreciate that.
Okay, dear.
First and foremost, I want to find out if anybody has any other questions that are not repetitive to what's been stated so that we can move forward and get some answers here. Is there anyone else out there that has any questions that have not been asked?
May I make a comment? We were talking about anger, and I want to say that this anger is legitimate. We've been suffering for years of abuse of our trust, of mismanagement of our money, of disrespect. And I think the respect should start with the board. And I remember you, Mr. Lebovitz, were cursing and threatening physical violence to our resident unit owner in one of the meetings in the past. So, and you have the audacity to run again and you hope to get the votes. So the anger is quite legitimate. And I hope that new members will change the tone of our conversation and we will live in a civilized community and help each other. So I don't think that I would ever consider you as a board member.
That's quite fine. I'm not the candidate on this, the running though, that has been banned from the office by 2 managers and ordered by the police. not to come to the office, but you're entitled to your opinion. Can we go on forward with questions that pertain to how the candidates are going to move forward with the projects that we have coming up in the future and their knowledge of how they can help this building?
I could ask a question. It's Nadia. So you said moving forward, but unfortunately we haven't moved past the first debacle of Capitol. So if you're talking about moving forward, how do you plan to rectify all of the issues that we have? Let's set aside that Carl was on the board and president for the past year, but you're the reason that we're with Capitol. You're the reason. You basically set us up for the disaster that we're in. So you keep talking about moving forward, moving forward, moving forward, and you have all of this knowledge. Well, then why don't we have the right carpets? Why are the tiles all broken? Why? This is all things that you chose. So how are we supposed to believe you have so much knowledge if our building is falling apart from the renovation that you put into place?
Nadia, let me address your question thoroughly.
Go ahead.
You're presenting a fountain of misinformation. Number one, the board and myself as president of the board selected Capitol. It wasn't a unilateral decision. We interviewed several contractors and several designers, and it was a board decision to move forward with Capitol. I went and viewed Capitol's work at 3 different projects. And the work they were doing at Williams Island 3000 was very impressive. The work was flawless. The work at another one of their projects wasn't up to par. Prior to entering into a contract with Capitol, we stated very clearly to them that we wanted the quality of finished work, level finished work, to be Williams Island, okay? That didn't occur, and we're all very disgusted with it. While I was on the board and overseeing this project, I had full control of everything, and the corrections were all being made because I'm a stickler for detail, and I put them through the ringer. Since I've been off the project, the board has lost total quality control of the project. And during the 10 years that Mark Braun and I, who was my vice president for probably most of those years, every project that we took and oversaw here ran very well. They were painstaking. We were sticklers for detail. We did all our due diligence. We would go, at least I would go, at factories, whether it was mechanical work that involved boilers and other type of machinery. We viewed the production plants, the factories. We went to buildings where programs and mechanisms were installed. We interviewed their engineers. Eddie was with us at all times. We looked at all the pros and cons before we ever decided on moving with a specific vendor and specific equipment. We did the same here with Capitol. Unfortunately, and again, I say, unfortunately, the quality of work that Capitol demonstrated at Williams Island, and which was excellent, and promised to deliver here, was not what they delivered. Okay. Now, second part of your question is how can we move forward with other projects with this debacle still on our plate? We don't have a choice. We have other projects coming up. You have to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. You have to deal with the corrections that are required here, which I know every single one of them, and I have an eye for detail. And we have to move forward with the projects that are coming up as needed. Okay, that simultaneously is the way it has to go. All right, and you have to have the right people with experience in construction that know how to deal with these situations. Okay, my entire life is in construction. I am a stickler for detail. I do not like getting ripped off. I have thrown contractors out of here on their ass for $2,000 repair bills, which had a value of $300 to $500, okay, because of their exorbitant markups, all right? And under my watch, we have never been ripped off financially from any contractors here, okay? The only thing that we have here right now, which is a big disappointment, is the quality of Capital's work. But when I was spearheading this project and when I was on top of the daily grind to it, okay, every correction was being made, and they were disgusted with what I was putting them through. And I was disgusted with having to put them through it because it shouldn't have had to be that way. Any other questions?
No,
Yes.
I have a comment. I think we don't need guys to vote for slick talkers. We need to vote for people with untarnished reputation. I don't think that somebody who got us into this mess should be talking to us and fooling anybody. Please be wise.
I would advise the same to you. Anybody have any questions that they want to ask?
I do.
I have another question. Oh, I'm sorry, JB.
Yes, hi, Marvin.
Pertaining to how we're going to move forward with this project and where we're going to go with future projects.
Well, I'm going to ask the question that I want to ask, right? What I would like, if you can clarify, I know you were a big part of selecting the capital. You were a big part of selecting all of the materials. One of the things I noticed is just the framing of the doors, the molding around the elevators. Those are already cracking and they've been there for less than a year. So explain to me how, because the selection of the material was done as part of the contract, correct?
Correct. And
okay,
speaking about the framing and trim at the elevators, okay, was not done as I instructed them. Okay, the vertical stone that you see there at every elevator column should have come out to the end of the wood with the metal decorative trim there. It didn't follow my instructions.
Were your instructions written in detail as part of the scope of work? Because
my instructions on my walkthrough with them specifically put their face in it, telling them that that wasn't going to fly and that was the wrong way to do it. Okay.
Well, I don't know much about construction.
They understood that clearly. In the board, the current boards did not follow up with those details, as they haven't followed up with other details. Our entire ceiling in the lobby, which is our focal point, our radius of the soffit is crooked in 4 directions. It should have never gotten to that point. It should have never come out of the stage, out of the framing point.
Why did you pay capital then? Why did you pay for that job, for that work, if it wasn't well done?
Excuse me?
Why did you pay for that work if it wasn't well done?
I haven't paid for it and nobody has paid for it. There's an X amount of millions of dollars or so that's being held so that these corrections can be made. And now it's up to a board with leadership to come in and enforce and make these corrections. We want to get capital paid. We want to get them out of here, but we also want to have the meticulous work completed the way we expected it, the way I expected it to come out.
Well, the only issue that I don't
do these things.
The only issue that I see is that
deficient aesthetic items that you're upset with. I don't want to see them either. okay? I want them corrected. And right now, we have the leverage. We're holding that money, okay? The money to do these corrections is a fraction of what we owe them. But we have the leverage. It's a matter of getting it done correctly.
Based on the last newsletter that was sent out, apparently they will be paying $750,000 of that $1.2 million that's currently owed. But now the other thing that I do want to add is that I don't feel that we really have any recourse to getting these poor quality materials exchanged if it's not reflected in the contract. Just verbal instructions are not sufficient enough to get them to change that. You have to show that you requested that and agreed upon it in a contract. So I mean, I'm a little confused as to how the materials that were expected were not reflected in the contract that you helped sign with Capital.
Listen, materials that I had selected with them, okay, in a couple cases were not what we received. Now, I was unable at that point, being off the board and off this project, to force these things that I wanted to get done and corrected. And I don't want to knock any individuals on the current boards that oversaw this, okay? As it was a very, detailed and excruciating project. When you're not experienced in these fields, okay, you're gonna get the brunt of the blame, all right? And that's why you need experienced people in this field to see the project through in its entirety, okay? Even though I was off the board, because I had to be off the board because of state law, all right? I should have been on a specific committee to oversee this entire design project that I initiated and that I knew how to run, and we wouldn't be in this position where we're at right now. Okay.
Marvin Mathieu here. I have a question. You are competent. Hello?
Board, the current president wants this meeting stopped at this time, so I can't answer any more questions right now.
No, don't stop the meeting right now. Let other people speak. They have a right to speak.
We have a time, but Marvin's time is up.
If you're asking a specific question, I'll be glad to.
Yeah. Yes, Marvin. Marvin.
Otherwise, other people are welcome to speak.
Marvin, I have a specific question to you. Your platform, it's mostly concentrated on the contracts and your experience as leadership and control of the contracts. However, we have asked very specifically, and what we're looking at to the new board members now, transparency and accountability. And I'm not a 34 years resident here. I'm since 2014. During the first 5 years since I came in this building, I have to tell you, during your time, there was no transparency at all. So moving forward, while you know what the residents we want from you, how are you going to fulfill that part? Transparency and accountability, so we know what's going on, because we never knew what's happening in your leadership before.
Transparency can easily be fulfilled by putting all the comments and contracts on the website. It'll alleviate the office from having to be inundated with constant requests. There's nothing that any board that I participated had any intention of ever hiding from anybody. Everything is transparent. And to make things smoother going into the future, everything can be posted on a website so that everybody can see. Simple as that.
Okay, thank you.
A lot of aggravation away from everybody.
Thank you, Marvin.
I would like the privilege of now asking my questions, please. This is Alberto Millian.
Go ahead, Al.
I thought
Thank you, Mr. Perkins.
I thought
Thank
you
you,
had
Mr.
left.
Perkins. Let me just be very blunt here. My question is not for Carl Perkins and it's not for Marvin Lebowitz. Here's where we are today. We have a debacle in my estimation. You can disagree with me and I respect your opinion. We have a renovation contract that is a disaster. We have problems in the maintenance of our building. We have a penthouse pool, which is not applicable to everybody, which has taken nearly 5 years to address. Still, the board has collected. I question the judgment and the integrity of the board that has served. There are 2 former members of the board who are running for election or re-election. The problem here is more complicated. The problem goes to the judgment and the integrity of those 2 people who are running for re-election. Mr. Lebowitz, of which I served on the board, recommended capital. Him and Mark Braun endorsed it. They said it was the best deal going for our association. They were wrong. It's been a disaster. Even when Mr. Lebowitz was voted off of the board, the current board, allowed him to continue as a liaison with capital. He failed. His judgment was flawed. His integrity has been flawed. I'll express a personal opinion on top of that. He's been a coward, a bully, and a thug. He picked on an elderly citizen who did not have the ability to even defend himself. Typical of a thug. Now he wants to get back on the board to exercise his power over that board. The problem has been bad judgment, bad integrity, bad management. The board has hired 3 managers in less than 4 years. They either do not know how to hire an employee and they don't know how to supervise them. We are at the position right now where we have to make a radical change in direction. We have 3 new candidates, Eli, Paul, and Daniel Epstein, who promise a change specifically in the areas of transparency and accountability. If we don't change.
Excuse me, is there a question? Is there a question somewhere in there? Is there a question?
Comment.
Give me the respect that I
Stop
gave you.
interrupting. I want to.
You. Give me the respect that I gave you. I did not interrupt you at any minute. Because you don't like my message, you cannot suppress it. This is the United States of America. This is not China and North Korea or the Soviet Union or Russia. You, as a former veteran, should know that. Do not interrupt me. My question is prefaced with facts, assumptions that I can allow the candidates who are aspiring to refute or agree with. Please be courteous enough. I listened to you all evening with never interrupting you. The bottom line is we have a series of problems right now, legal, including lawsuits that you, Mr. Perkins, as president of the board, have not disclosed. You don't talk about the settlement you just reached. I know it because I read the documents. They're public documents. Employees wrongfully terminated. Contracts not
What
fulfilled.
documents? What are you
Lack of
talking about?
quality. I don't
You know what?
care what you think. I gave you the ability to listen.
said that-
I gave
you
you the
said that
ability to speak.
Lawsuits? What lawsuits? What are you talking
I
about?
gave you the ability to speak. Have the courtesy. I hope the United States Navy, like the U.S. Army, taught me to respect other people's opinions. The bottom line here is that you're asking 2 people who have served on the board during the worst period in 20 years that I've lived in this association that have ended up in debacle. Today, I talked to Capitol, and I'm directing my question to the new candidates who told me they are not fixing, listen to this, the doors, they are trying to make them acceptable to the code compliance board. And if you want to debate this publicly, I will be happy to do so. At the end of the day, your judgment and your integrity is in question. You have not. You brag about having been a Navy commander. If you commanded a tugboat, I would be surprised. And this is a direct comment directed at you. I want to know from the new board members how they're going to rectify this lack of judgment, transparency, and integrity. I don't want to hear from you because I've heard from you for the last 3 years and Marvin Lebowitz for the last 7 years, and all it's resulted is in lawsuits, incompetence, and incompetent management of our resources. You hired 3 managers in 4 years. They've all left or resigned, and they all declare you and Marvin Lebowitz as liars. They did not leave. They left only because they could not work with you.
That's the question that I have for the new board members. And if you want to debate this in a public place, in a public time, at a time that doesn't violate the Shabbat for our members who are Jewish, of which I consider myself a member, I'll be happy. You lied to me in the last meeting. You agreed that we should not set meetings on the Shabbat. And now we have members, and I have my close neighbors telling me this is outrageous. And you said it at 7 p.m. on a Friday night. I'm offended. We don't do that to Muslims. We don't do that to Christians. We don't do that to anybody in any faith. You did it because you want to impede our ability to participate. That is disgraceful, and it's un-American. I'll tell you furthermore, un-American. Let me hear from the new candidates who are aspiring, who have not screwed up our association. Let me hear from them how they are going to remedy your incompetence and Marvin Leibowitz bullying and thug tactics.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Judge Millian. Mr. Berkins, you're not sharing the meeting? Mr. Berkins? Carl Berkins, are you chairing the meeting?
I am not. I'm here. Yeah.
Because we were told before that you're leaving, but then I haven't seen, so I just wanted to actually make sure
I had to step out to take a call.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to make sure I'm addressing the correct chairperson. Regina?
Yes, me.
Yes.
Okay, you're still there. Okay.
We have to wrap it up now.
Okay. So, well, I haven't answered the question as yet. So may I actually answer the question? Okay. So may I answer the question, Regina?
Where did we leave off? Which question?
Okay, so I haven't gotten to actually answer the question. Judge Millian had a question, and there are 3 questions. So the first question I wanted to actually answer is to.
And then that'll be it. We have to close up.
I'll
go ahead.
So the 3 questions that I had to actually answer, the 3 questions that are outstanding. One came from Alexandria. Poncio, if I pronounce your last name incorrectly, please forgive me.
Alex Pacelli, my friend.
Pacelli, yes. Your question was in reference to whether a prior board member can be hired to be an employee of the association. Under the Administrative Act of Florida, that actually corresponds to Florida Statute 718. Yes, it can be done. However, there's a process in which that the board, once the board makes a decision, it has to be done in an open board meeting. And then the association members, once it's disclosed, will have the discretion to actually 2/3 to either accept or override the decision. So I hope that answers that question that was lingering out there, okay, in terms of full transparency. Okay? So,
I didn't understand what you said. What was the question? What was your answer again?
Whether a former board member can be hired by the association as an employee, can be given a contract, employed.
Right.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. Mr. Mateo, you had a question in terms of you were concerned about the energy that you are actually you're expressing. And I do respect that, because you're entitled to feel emotions. And if that's the way you feel, that the energy or there's a lot of anger, personally speaking for myself, this is something that I can practice on myself, and then something that you can practice, each person has to practice together within the community. If this is something that you specifically have a passion around in terms of the love and the energy. However, specifically answer that question, part of the discrepancy has been what is respect and disrespect. That some people, there is a belief by some persons. I'm about to wrap it up, Regina. Right? For some persons, I just wanted to make sure that these 2 persons have their points at the questions answered. There's a narrative or a misconception that if constructive feedback is disrespectful, I personally disagree with that, Mr. Mateo. There's nothing wrong with constructive criticism. If you hire me to paint a building and I paint half of the building.
Well, Mr. Warren, it's 9 o'clock and we only have the Zoom until now. And it's not an open forum. And we've got to cut it. We have to.
Zoom will not cut us off. It will run even past the time.
Well, we have some differences of opinion.
Can I make a question or it's too late?
Let the candidates answer the question that I posed.
Listen, why did this turn into a fighting match here? Calm down, everyone.
Answer. Give them a minute apiece.
Looks like it's bedtime for Regina.
Wait a minute, I can't.
Yeah, come on. This is a honor. We are here giving our time for that. Come on. It's a joke.
Give them 1 minute to answer.
So while they're actually summarizing there, so Mr. Mateo, so constructive criticism is not a bad thing, and I'm open to that. And we may disagree, but at the end of the day, we're neighbors. I see you, you see us. We will actually engage each other's in the elevators going down. So I understand your concern that we need to be respectful towards each other. However, and that passion, whether we disagree, we have to be respectful. But however, I do disagree with you and perhaps some others members here who view criticism as constructive criticism as a personal attack. If it's constructive, I am open to it because I believe the goal for us is to improve, and the goal for me to improve because of course I have imperfections and there are things that I will do wrong, and your help can help me to do better. To answer Judge Millian's question, I'm watching the clock because I see they're getting back here. It's Judge Millian, again, I hear your concerns, and the way we can actually answer this is that, as I said before, is that we need to have a code of conduct, and we need to establish committees so that we can have all contracts reviewed at Delvista Towers, so that we can have full transparency. And these committees, once they provide the information to the board, we'll have an open board meeting to disclose the information that was gathered by the committee. And I hope that answers your question. Thank you so much. I was racing to the clock. Thank you so much.
Everybody,
One more question here, please. Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, they can hear you. Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay, sorry. So I have a quick, I am from France. I lived with Liz for some years, and then I had a similar situation for some kind of corporation like that in my country, in France. And it was a kind of hard discussion between the board and the people, their own apartments and this and that, and the tenants. It was at the time, it was at the end, it was almost possible to talk all together because this kind of problem. It was a lack of trust or whatever it is. And the only solution that we find after 1 or 2 years is to hire a third-party company. And everybody addressed to the board, owner by owner, what they don't like. When they discover about mistakes, they address to the board, and after like 28 days, whatever, and then they hire an independent expert to make a kind of audit, and they take a list and addressed by the board, and they expect everything, and they come to the contractor, and of course, before you froze the money to capital, whatever, for a certain amount to make sure they will make it according to the expertise. And this is the third party, and they come and say, okay, that's it. This is the document. This is what's wrong. You have to fix it. Otherwise, you will never receive your money. That's it. And everybody was okay because it was not conflict anymore between the board and the tenant. It was the third party, completely independent. And it works that way perfect. And everybody were happy at the end. That's an idea.
And I think what he said, what my husband said, is that basically it will create less animosity and less anger,
Yes.
which is all over
Of
here.
course.
And it's, It blows
It's
my
very
mind.
hard to solve.
It blows my mind. I can't take it. Less animosity, more independent audit that will address the issues so that we can all move on. Move on.
Absolutely.
Good idea.
Absolutely. And you know, that's why with our dealings with capital, we went out and hired a third-party contractor to come in and take a look at some of the deficiencies that we saw with capital. And the reason we brought them in was because of their expertise and because of the animosity that was there between the board and capital. And that's why we were withholding money. And now we've come to an agreement on a solution going forward to finish the project. And that's what we're trying to do, is to finish the project. And that's all we want to do. Let's finish the project. And it doesn't matter who screwed up where. It just matters that we get it all done, and then we move on to the next phase. And
Our moderator.
yes, Regina left now, so I'm not the moderator, and she's left, so I think we're gonna have to end the meeting now, because this.
Well,
this
Carl,
is
with all due respect, you are the moderator according to the internet.
Yes, I did. I did set it up. Yes.
Can I take 1 minute?
Yes, please.
Very easy.
Please.
As we see, I have more than 1 hour, and I see, and I see like an inspector, something.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you. Could you increase the volume?
Yes, it's impossible. I mean, five people ran to be a director in the board. The 5 people I saw, I was very impressed with Danny's speech. If it's something true that Danny's speech is tell us, we are really in troubles. Let me explain you why. Because the board is our representation, and if I feel in the board is a big division that I think that is not work with the same proposal that have everyone that live here. The most important is forget it now, capital, no capital. The first thing that I try to make the proposal is that all of them sit down in a table and make a minimum agreement to survive each another. Because today, like somebody right over there, we wasted time. Why we wasted time? Because we see here 2 different ways, and know in these 2 different ways, the new people wants to work and the old people wants to defend. I don't know what they have to defend. Sit down in a table and get us to all of 400. I mean, we are here only 40 people, 41 people now. That is the same 41 people that start. It means that nobody wants to finish the story. But we can stay here 2-3 days, and we don't have any conclusion. At the meantime, that they wants to be the board, that the ones that be our representations sit down and make the minimum how they can survive. And then I think in my consideration, there are new people like Danny or like Ellie that wants to start, and I hope that they give them an opportunity. But this is my point of view. Besides my point of view, or besides my vote, they will need, I think, and I appreciate to everybody. I speak, of course, under my personality. Sit down and make a minimum what they do when arrive at the elections. That's it.
Okay, you know what? I want to thank everybody for showing up and for taking the time out of your lives to talk about what's going on here in our building. I want to tell all of the members that are running for the board, wish you well. But folks, we're gonna have to call an end to this because, you know, time has run out, our moderator is left. And yes, the only reason that I'm showing up as a moderator is because it's on my computer, okay? And so thanks for showing up. Please vote for whoever you think would be your best representatives. And we will see you. Our election is a week from today on the 24th. And then we'll see how it shakes out, and then we'll see what we're gonna do going forward. Okay.
The election will be public. It was was the election? You open the box where in the lobby. How is the procedure?
Well, yes, the voting box is in the lobby right there by the security desk, so that we have cameras on it 24/7. We can see who submitted the votes. Once the 24th comes, we will move everything upstairs. We will have 5 people that will be yes, the supervisors of the election, the attorneys, and also the folks from O&I, which are doing the electronic voting. And you should have got a notice today saying that, you know, we're going to have a meeting to get the 5 people that have nothing to do as representatives, and it will be on video. We'll record it so everyone can see, totally transparent, and that's it. Okay.
What is the meeting that you say on Friday? Which meeting is this? On Friday, 7 p.m.
The one on Friday is just to get the 5 people that.
Okay, can you make us a favor and move this? Because on Friday, a lot of people here are Jewish, and Jewish, I am not so observant, but I have respect to all of people that have that observe Shabbat. So I want to make you a favor to change this meeting to you have 23 hours more against this 7 o'clock.
You know what? I don't have a problem with moving the meeting to Monday. However, if I move it to Monday, then I don't want the other people that say that I'm only giving them 48 hours between the elections to choose the 5 people and to try to invalidate the election.
So why did you wait so late? Why did you wait so late, Mr. President?
So what about Friday at 5 p.m. or Friday at 6 p.m.? Why do you have to make it when the Sabbath starts on purpose? It doesn't make sense.
I don't know when the Sabbath starts. I'm not Jewish.
Come on, man.
I can
Google,
I could move it to 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
Listen,
starts at sunset. Starts at sunset.
I'm Jewish. And the most important for us is I know that you are not Jewish. We know, but between respect, I can tell you, you can do it Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday at 12 o'clock. It's okay, but don't tell me, with all respect, that I'm not Jewish. I know when is the story. The story is
what is the time? You know what?
Thursday, 7 p.m.
We can't.
Do it afternoon. Do it at 12 o'clock. Do it wherever you want. But you know exactly that Friday and Saturday is not for the Jewish people, that it's a majority people here. So in respect to them, to observe, because
all right, I have to give 48
well, some people work. Some people work.
I have to give 48 hours notice. Okay, so I will move it to Monday, where we have 48 hours, and I will have it at a time that those that work can
7 p.m.
attend. Okay.
Monday at 7 p.m.
All right. Does that work for everybody? It works for me.
It worked today, so.
Okay.
It works for me. I waive any objection that I may have if you move it to Monday.
All right, I'll move to Monday. Okay?
I did,
All right.
I did remind you, Mr. President.
I will be in the office first thing in the morning. You guys will see a new notice coming out, and I'm moving it to Monday. Okay? All right.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Okay. Everybody have a good evening. Thanks.